Butch and Bob Show.
World famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup. Big Dog Country Radio. Morning, Bob.
Good morning.
What's up?
Still in shock with Carson Beck in the transfer portal. That was a surprise yesterday.
There's no loyalty in sports
That's what I'm
anymore.
saying. Just
There's not at
sad.
all. You got to be loyal to the team. You can't be loyal to any player because they're not loyal to the team.
I want to be a college coach these days. Every year your team just changes.
You don't know. I mean, Georgia's picked up a couple of good people in the portal. We've lost some. It's just it's the reality of today, Bob.
But they've got to find a way to come in and set up a system where there's some kind of punishment if you leave, get to sit out a year.
Well, it used to be. You used to have to play down from Division I to Division II for a year. Then you can move up to Division I. Now you can just, you can go across the street to your competitors and stuff like that.
And just make it a professional league and just rent the stadiums out. I mean, there's no loyalty. It's just sad.
Are they even going to classes? Are they really truly students there?
Well, a friend of mine joked the other day, when's the last time you heard of academically ineligible? I mean, that's not even – remember how you used to –
They're academically ineligible.
Go to the ball game and three guys can't play because they're academically – there's no such thing as academically ineligible because they're not going to class. They're just going to play football and make money. So that's apparently what this is all about.
Well, you know what the root of all this is? Money.
Yeah, it's all money.
It's money.
But that's where Beck's going. He's looking for another payday, but apparently he's going to Miami because that's where his girlfriend goes.
Or do they need a quarterback down there?
Apparently so.
Is the one this year moving on?
Yeah, Cam Ward's going.
He's going on, so they're going to need a quarterback. Right, so go out there and be next to where his girlfriend is. Down there in sunny Miami.
I hadn't heard. I just want to hear what Kirby's thoughts are. Like I said, it hasn't made a statement yet. I'd like to see what they got to say.
The reality of today. I mean, here he is. He's going to go to the pros, and I'm not going to go to the pros. I'm going to go to somewhere else. Going to transfer portal.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to miss him, but like I said, I thought he looked like a jerk at the playoff game. Did you watch the playoff game against Notre Dame? I mean, they had him there on the sidelines. Had some stupid hat on there. I don't know who got him that stupid hat, but it was a dumb-looking hat. But he didn't show any emotion whatsoever. I mean, they said he was there to support Gunner, but I never saw him talk to Gunner. We scored a touchdown. He shows no emotion. He's like, so I don't even know why he was there. So good luck.
No, like I said, there's no loyalty anymore, only to the almighty dollar.
You better go protect that Lamborghini. Is all I got.
How'd you like to be the alumni who bought that for him to play there? And
that may be spray painted or has some flat tires by now. But no one's missing Carson Beck. But it's wild. It's the wild west. Like I said, they need somebody to come in and set some rules and regulations because nobody.
Well, all the schools and conferences would have to agree to it, and that's
crazy.
A difficult thing to do. We're going to have Coach McDonald on in just a few minutes. He texted and said he's going to be just a little bit behind, but we'll have the
he's on his way.
Head baseball coach on of Wayne County High School in just a few moments. Plus, he's athletic director, and he'll talk about some other things too, and with athletics at the schools.
A good ball game last night. I said Penn State just totally dominated the first half. Looked like they were going to just roll, but Notre Dame regrouped and came out and played well in the second half. And
what a fourth quarter, from what I understand. Yeah. I'm sleeping. I go to bed at 7, so what a fourth quarter, huh?
Yeah, Penn State made a cardinal mistake. Like they say, you're never supposed to throw across the field, but Penn State quarterback threw across the field, got picked off, and Notre Dame got down for the field goal and won it on a last-second field goal. So go Irish in the national championship game, going to Atlanta.
Well, if Ohio State beats Texas, Ohio State has Notre Dame's number.
Right. Well, they said last night they've already posted the lines. If Texas wins, Texas is a 3-point favorite against Notre Dame. If the Buckeyes win, they're a 10-point favorite over Notre Dame. So
they just always seem to have their number. Somehow, some teams have that. It's like, Ohio State has Penn State's number. It just seems to beat them all the time. And Penn State can beat everybody else, but they have a hard time against Ohio State.
I got Texas tonight. I'm taking the Longhorns.
You're taking the Longhorns over Ohio State,
huh? Last SEC
Are you going with your heart or your brain here, Bob?
I'm going
with SEC. Grant be any heart.
It's SEC.
It's SEC. Well, Texas is only the first year
of
the SEC.
I understand, but they're our last hope. I want the Big Ten out.
You want the Big Ten out and Texas and the SEC win.
I want Texas and Notre Dame.
Yeah, Georgia wins the SEC championship, but Texas wins the national championship. At least we keep it family, right?
Well, if Texas wins, when they win the national championship, Georgia say,
we beat them twice.
So, that's another reason why I want to win.
Yeah, so go Longhorns, huh? Yeah. All right, we have our guest in this morning, Bob.
We got athletic director and head baseball coach. I don't know.
Is it basketball, football? It's baseball, Reggie, Coach.
Yeah.
Got baseball coming up. In fact, they got the scrimmage on February 4th. First game's February 10th. But again, a lot of excitement about the high school baseball season. Let's talk about that first. A lot of players coming back, some good pitchers coming back. So talk about, when's the first official practice? I think it's still a couple weeks away, right?
Yeah, it's not an ideal situation this year. For some reason, Georgia High School wants to start all the spring sports on the same date. So
all the spring sports?
Yeah, so all spring sports start January 27th. In a normal year, we're starting either this week or next week. So if you look at the calendar and based on the schedule, because they bumped the actual first practice date down, but they left the start date for games the same. So we start the 27th. In 8 days we play a scrimmage, and then 14 days you play your first game. So fortunately we're in a classification where power rankings, you look at those single A, double A, and triple A schools, that first game on their schedule means something because it's going into their power rankings. So it's not ideal. Fortunately, we've had the way we do things here with the off season and the 4-on-1s and the fall program. Our guys will be ready at that time, but again, you got to have tryouts, and then we still want to do our black and gold series and things like that, and there's not a lot of time to do that stuff. So again, it's not ideal, but we'll adjust, and I know from game one, another good schedule. So we're looking forward to it with a great group coming back.
Yeah, like I said, a good group coming back. Talk about some of the pitchers that are coming back. It's all about pitching. You do have to replace your catcher from last year, Tyler Wallman, now playing collegiate ball.
Yeah.
So, tell us a little bit of how the team looks right now.
Oh, we're healthy. That's the number one thing going in to the off season and the summer coming into the fall, that we were going to try to make sure our guys were healthy and we have everybody ready to go at a high level. And you got Rowan Blanton and Eli returning. They were big parts of what we did on the mound, and then Logan, he had the injury earlier in the year or the procedure he had to get done, and he's back in his routine, and he'll be ready too. So I could go on and on. It's again, we start in bullpens next week, and it's it takes a mad scientist to figure out how you can get all these guys work in 4 days of 4-on-1. So again, we have a stable of pitching. If somebody asks what our strength is, it's pitching. And when you look at teams and they say their strength's pitching, then you think they got a pretty good chance to make we're not using the term make a run anymore. Making a run is not good enough. So got enough pitching to finish the deal.
Like I said, you got plenty of pitching. You mentioned Eli, you mentioned Rowan, you got Tate Altman, who had a big year last year. You got Logan's coming back.
Isaiah Lee,
who just signed a scholarship.
Yeah.
So got Jeb Craven in the middle. I mean, you got a lot of arms to choose from. Cade Lynn, right? So how about the hitting wise? That's always a big. I saw where Deacon Yeomans and the Thomas kid both were recognized as preseason All-State players.
That's right.
So you got some bats as well.
Yeah, those two. They were at the top of our offense last year, and they're kind of two different styles. Deacon can Deacon put pressure on you on the bases. He can bunt a little bit, and then Nick can hit the ball out of the park. And Deacon's gotten stronger. He's going to be able to do that as well. But we just got to find those guys in the middle of the lineup, that 4, 5, 6 right in there that can push some guys across the plate and hit for some power. And again, that's it's going to be tough again to make that lineup out, because there's a lot of guys that have earned the right to get in there. It's just going to be, we've moved some guys around in the fall with their 4-on-1 on defense, trying to work them in positions, because at the end of the day, it's about getting the best 9 hitters in that lineup and producing runs, but also be sound on defense. So there's some guys that are multi-position guys or utility guys, as the baseball term. But those utility guys are probably the most beneficial ones, because they can move around and make the lineup work depending on who's on the mound. So we got a lot of those guys, and again, I'm excited about it. The region's probably, I don't know, my tenure going back to when we had Statesboro, Effingham, South Effingham. This is probably, when you look at the preseason rankings and the 4 teams that are capable of, you got Warner Robins and New Hampstead, who historically hadn't been very sound, but again, those guys can beat you any day. I remember being down 4-3 in the 7th inning to New Hampstead and had no business being there and had to come back and win it. So you still got to play the game. But those 4 teams, all four of us are in the top. I think it's the top 12 and 4A.
And what 4 teams are those?
Benedictine, Ware, Perry, and us.
Okay.
So, and you know, again, you look at the top 3 teams in the preseason is Cartersville, Blessed Trinity, and Mariston. We've had an opportunity just playing the schedule we play. We played all those people, so we don't back down from it. But at the end of the day, I think it's very important in our region that you finish 1 or 2, because that first round matchup is going to be Marist or St. Pius. So
looking at the preseason rankings, I'm glad you brought them up, because what surprised me, I said I expected BC to be in there. I mean, we're ranked ahead of them, but they had Ware ahead of us. So does Ware have that big of a team coming back?
Well, they lost. I think they only lost 1 or 2 guys off that semifinal team they had in 5A last year. But again, we play them on a yearly basis, and it's always that's always a tough place to play when you go over there. So again, that's going to be a huge series. I think that's the last series of the year, and it could be for the region title or playing for a 1-2 spot to host a playoff game. But again, I think it's crucial that you finish 1-2 just to set yourself up, because we played St. Pius and we played Marist before, and you kind of want to. Those are teams
you want to miss them in the first round.
Yeah, those are teams. Not that we will back down from them. Those teams you're supposed to play in the 3rd or 4th round. So again, we just got to do our part on that 30-game schedule to put ourselves in a situation to be successful and see if we can finish this thing.
And just joined us in the studio with us, head baseball coach Justin McDonald, and athletic director as well. Again, we'll move on from the AD position, because a lot of people are asking about the experiments underway this first year to combine the middle school sports program. So you're the athletic director. I just want to get your thoughts on how that's going. How do you see that progressing? Is it going to be a long-term thing? Just your thoughts on how it's gone so far this year.
I think it's going well. The only unfortunate part is the conference wouldn't allow us to play for a championship, and we're in the process now. Myself along with Coach Bailey and Coach Brockenden of there's some schools around us that are looking to create conferences, middle school conferences, and some bigger schools around us. So we're in the possibility of creating a conference so our kids can compete for a championship. But at the end of the day, the vision is development and giving kids opportunities, and there's I'm not a moral victory guy, but I do know in football in middle school this year it was a lot more competitive. The scores were more competitive, especially with the older team. When you put our older players together and let them play together, because that's what it is when they get to high school. There's something there's a price that you can't put on building team chemistry and kids playing around each other and loving each other. And obviously most of these kids, when you play athletics, you're around each other more than you are your own family. So again, I think that's important. There has been some we're looking at the possibility of next year 6th graders not playing football and it just being an 8th grade, 7th grade team. Because the great thing about the way it's all set up is, every sport we have, each kid still has the opportunity to play in the recreation program. So, that's again, the more reps they get, the more time they get on the floor or on the field. That's important to us, because it's about development and trying to create the best athlete we can. And right now baseball started. The middle school baseball schedule started, so we had the 2 teams practicing. The soccer teams are practicing, so their spring sports in middle school are already underway. It's kind of crazy. They got 3 weeks of practice before the high school can even step on the field and practice, but that's just how it is. So, but again, I think it's going well. I hope it's long term. It's a process. It'll take. You won't really see the full effect of it until you get. This 6th grade class is really the first class that comes in that's a part of it, and then the 7th grade, 8th grade. So it'll be 3 years before you actually see it where it's lining up like it should. And, I'll say this, in the baseball program, we had 78 kids try out for middle school baseball. Well, in a perfect world, like your bigger schools, like you look at, if we were closer to I-75, you could really do some things, because they have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade teams. So you really have enough athletes or baseball guys in this town to have a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade team. The issue where we're at now is to find the games for them. So, but fortunate both teams, 6th and 7th graders and the 8th graders, have a full schedule. I think they're going to play around 21, 22 games in baseball. So whereas before they were around 12 to 15, and mostly that was 8th graders getting those reps. So And that's in all sports. But again, we're looking forward to continue. I know we'll make some minor changes. Transportation was the big concern about getting kids from point A to point B, and Coach Brockett and Coach Bailey, Dr. White and Coach Ward over at Arthur Williams, and along with Tim Horn and Amber Erickson at the bus shop, they did an outstanding job of making sure. I don't think we've had any, and I better knock on wood, but we hadn't had any time where kids didn't get where they were supposed to go, and that's a tribute to people trying to find solutions instead of worried about problems. And I give credit to them, because I hadn't really been involved in that, and they've taken that and make sure kids get to point A to point B, and they've done a real good job of that.
How about number-wise? And they said when you combine the two teams, football I don't think would be affected, but you mentioned all the kids in baseball, so how many kids? How does that work? Is it a lower number, or kids get
it's actually, that's the thing. We went back. I did it for baseball, but we also did it for each other sport prior to presenting this stuff. When you look back at, we divided them up, how many kids were on each team, Arthur Williams, Martha Puckett, then you divide them up in their grade level. At the end of the day, there's around, if you take both schools when it was separated, there's around 30 kids. Probably there's 30 kids in each sport. Now, these 15 over here at this school could be a whole lot better than these 15. And the thing that we saw, or I've seen since I've been here, if you're better 15 there at this school and you only have one or two that could possibly compete and play with these 15, and they don't win very many games, those one or two that could help, whether it's the 8th grade or 9th grade or 10th grade level, they decide to not play anymore. So I think it's more of like the chemistry part of it, putting them around, allowing them to be successful, allowing them to grow as an athlete. But the numbers in baseball, they've gone up this year. So and we've kept, it's around the same amount of numbers as far as players in the program. So again, you look at 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then when you get to high school, you want to have 8 or 9 real good ones in each grade level. So that's kind of what we're shooting for. And I haven't seen the numbers go down. The numbers have gone up. So, and again, the good thing is, and out of those 76, there was some that had to be, obviously the tough part of the job is tell some that it's not their time right now. And a lot of those were 6th graders. But the good thing is, here in March and April, they get to go play at the recreation level and compete and get better.
Another aspect of this was to do away with the rivalry between the two middle schools, to bring everybody back. Everybody's a Yellow Jacket, so I'm sure that's been a positive aspect of it.
It's nice, you getting uniforms and all, and it just says Wayne on it, or it just says Jackets on it. It don't say, nothing against the separate schools, but at the end of the day, we're all trying to compete and play for the same thing. And, hopefully every kid's vision and expectation that's playing in athletics in middle school is to play as a 9th grader on a varsity or JV and make an impact as quick as possible at the high school level, and then obviously continue their career. But, it's important that you invest in them. And what we have seen, too, is the varsity coaches are a lot more, it's a straight line. It funnels down from the high school straight to the middle school, and it don't branch off. So, sometimes it was difficult to line both middle schools up when they were separated out, to trying to get them on the same page because it was a competition. Maybe they didn't want to do the same thing because they were trying to beat each other. But now you don't have that issue. So, I think just using baseball, I'm obviously a head baseball coach, but, you could probably take our 6th and 7th grade team or the gold team and the black team and scrimmage each other. It's going to be a real good game. So, that's how competitive it is. And, again, I think it's going well. Again, there's probably some tweaks we can make to make it better, and that's what we'll do when it's all over this year. At the end, we'll obviously reflect and look back and kind of go through the process and what was good and what was bad and try to make it better.
And get back to baseball, like I say, the regular practices haven't gotten underway, but is the roster set, or is that where you have to go through?
We're having a meeting here next week. Kind of an information meeting, because there are some kids that will try out, and there's always one walking them hallways that you don't know about, and that's the opportunity for them. So we'll have tryouts on the 27th and 28th, and then the first probably official day of practice will be either that Thursday or that Wednesday. So it is time consuming when you do have those numbers, but again, you want to give kids opportunities. That's what it's about. And obviously, at that high school level, it's also about winning, but you gotta go through that process and make sure they're ready.
As an athletic director, I got to ask you this question. Like I said, recently the basketball teams had to go to Warner Robins.
Mm-hmm.
Have no idea what time they got back, but
Yeah.
they're expected to go back. I mean, does GHSA care anything about that? I mean, this region's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Those trips to Perry, those trips to Warner Robins. I mean, like I said, on Friday night it's not a big deal because you don't have school on Saturday. But those basketball teams, soccer teams, I mean, it's just what time do they get back from the basketball?
I know they were. It was late, and they were kind of allowed to come in a little bit later. It was that late. It's not ideal, and then it's not right. But they basically are taking, when they do. Everybody talks about isolation and things. They'll take the average of the mileage from. They'll take us to where, us to New Hampstead, us to Benedictine, us to Perry, us to Warner Robins, and see what the average is. And if we're under what they say constitutes isolation. So basically Ware probably, if Ware was another 30 miles away, we could be isolated. But Ware's the one that's right next to us that kind of holds us from doing a lot of things. Right. So it's just being them so close.
Right, as we mentioned, GHSA controls it all, and again, every 2 years they put us in different regions. So we have one more year with this same region that we're in right now with the New Hampstead, Ware, Perry, BC, and Warner Robins. But after next year, what's the discussion on, is Wayne moving up, moving down? What kind of region will we be looking at after the 2025 season?
Well, GHSA is discussing some different models of how they are, I guess they're going to go about doing the reclass in October. But, the first thing it starts on is your FTE count, which is the number of kids you have in your school. And, that's something that you really can't manipulate. But, they're looking at a competitive balance model, which, if you're a middle-of-the-pack team, then it's not really going to affect you. But basically the competitive balance, they start with your FTE count, and then they put you in classifications. And then they basically take, they're awarding teams based on success in state playoffs. So a point system, basically. So if you win a football state championship, that's worth 100 points. So, and then they'll take like the participation rate in, basketball, and if it's 96%, then that's basically 96 points. So, but what they'll do is they'll do that point system, and then everybody gets ranked in that classification by points, and then they'll take like the top 5 and the bottom 5. Well, the top 5 would have to move up in 2 years. The bottom 5 will move down in 2 years, and then it just kind of keeps. The only negative, and I don't think it's going to pass, because it's going to bring the privates and the publics back together in your single, double, and AAA, and that's not what those people want. So they don't want to be involved in the privates, and I'll be honest, in 4A we don't want to be involved with them either. But it's just one of those things. I would be more for going to the power rankings in all classifications. At one time in our football schedule, last year I think at one time we were 0-6, but we were still like 27 in the power rankings in 4A football, and 32 make the playoffs. So that goes to show you that the strength of schedule and the teams you play, and obviously our schedule in football is what it is, but that strength of schedule matters. But, obviously that's not going to happen next year. I don't know a sport that has an easy route in our classification with what we in right now. I know I definitely don't want to be in the same classification with Cartersville, Blessed Trinity, and Marist. So, or even in the region with Benedictine. Perry's got a Mississippi State guy, and Ware's a semifinal team. So I don't want to. It is what it is, but we're going to compete and see where it falls. But we're going to do our job, and I'm going to do my job to make sure we get put in the best situation. And it's not about obviously football is the moneymaker, and to build programs you have to have winning, and you have to have a sense of a schedule that you can compete in. And I'm going to do my job to make sure that happens in all sports, not just football, but make sure that we're in a situation where, coming into AD, I love region championships. I want to win state titles. And, right now it's a uphill climb in what we're in. And, again, we're isolated down here as far as where we're at and other schools around us. It's unfortunate in the playoffs, the first round of playoffs in any sport, you're going to Atlanta. There's just no other region down here to cross over with. used to. And when I first got into this, your first and second rounds, you never went above Macon. Just that's how it was spread out. But I guess Georgia's a growing state, and obviously we're growing here. So people moving in. I see houses going up everywhere here, and obviously those people moving in, that's going to increase enrollment. So we just got to look at all the options and make sure we don't put ourselves in this situation again, and that's my job.
We got some folks here that I'm not sure how much time we got left here. I hadn't looked, but they will say, can you lay out the other spring sports like tennis and golf? What's coming up?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have basketball tonight, New Hampstead, a region contest. Coach Hobbs got her 200th win, I guess, against Pierce on Saturday. So that's a big deal. She's been here for some time and done an outstanding job. So, but they play New Hampstead tomorrow. Our wrestling team, they got the region duels in Waycross start at 10 o'clock. Swim teams in action. They don't have a meet this week, but they're practicing and getting geared up. I do know they have a region meet coming up, I think next Thursday. And again, you got your tennis team, your soccer team, track and field. All of those that get kicked off on the 27th, and again,
everything kicks off on the 27th. You mentioned a little ago. Yeah, it's hard to imagine swimming a winter sport. It's a difficult thing, but that's the only time they can figure it in. So I guess they play swim indoors.
Yeah, we're fortunate. Our kids, and that's something I think that needs to be noted too. That our kids, that our swimmers, they get on a bus every day at like 4:40, and they drive to Baxley to practice. And that obviously that's not ideal, and I think our county's doing a great job of trying to fix that problem, and hopefully in the near future that problem's fixed so these kids have an opportunity. Because when you look at the summer swimming and the rec and all, there's a lot of participation. Then it kind of fizzles out in the middle school, but we want to build that program back up what it should be, and having a home pool would obviously help that. But give credit to those coaches that get on that bus and those kids that go to Baxley every day and practice and then come back. I think they get back every day around 7:30 and turn around and go to school and do it again. So tribute to them, and I appreciate what they do to those coaches do to give those kids the opportunities. But spring sports is full tilt. So you got golf as well. Golf will start up the 27th as well. So everything's lined up. I think soccer's a little bit. I think they start a little bit quicker with a game after the 27th. So obviously it's not ideal, but it is what's on paper. I'm sure somebody's going to start early.
Now, when you say start 27th, does that start practice or does that start games and matches?
That starts where you can have your entire team together at one time. Now,
now,
right now, you can have 4 players, 1 coach. That's what we're kind of doing outside of our strength and conditioning stuff. But, you got to have – that's the first time you can have a team organized practice/tryout. So, I think our soccer is their conditioning right now. They can do the conditioning. They just can't have a ball out there. So everybody's doing what they can to get themselves ready, so they're not behind on the 27th. So this is the first year in my 15, 16 years that it's been like this.
Yeah.
Most of the time you have 3 to 4 weeks to get yourself ready, and you can kind of slow play it, but there ain't no time to waste now. So you better be ready to go and be ready to play.
Okay, Coach, we appreciate you coming in. Look forward to the season. Again, the scrimmage is set for Tuesday, February 4th at Long County. That's going to take place here. And then the first regular season game, our first broadcast will be that Monday on the 10th at Pierce County. What do we know about Pierce and Appleton? Pretty good baseball teams again?
Yeah, well, it's a rivalry, so, you want to keep those on the schedule. I use red and blue teams, so, again, that's just how, you try to put the schedule together, and, I don't, it's just the dates. I get the dates and you just put it together and then you look at it. And again, I used to say, well, what have I done when you look at the schedule and you see the strength of, but I'm talking about, again, that's something that we take pride in, is playing that schedule. And, at the end of the day, you look up and you're beating teams that you probably shouldn't beat. And that's what it's about. And, I think there's a new team on there, the head coach at TCC. We had that little 3-team deal with Jeff Davis and Thomas County Central. He took the Colquitt job, so we're going to play Colquitt at Jeff Davis on that first Saturday of the week, so of the season. So then we'll turn around and go to Atlanta for Richmond Hill, Loganville, and Brookwood. So looking forward to it.
Yep, I see we got to go to Savannah twice to take on BC. I thought we did that last year.
What's that?
The BC, we got to play them down there twice. Yeah. I thought we did that last year.
Well, I had it different on my schedule. I thought we had them twice. I know last year we had to go to New Hampstead twice and BC twice. I got tired of going through Savannah and getting in traffic and you think you can get there in an hour, but you better make sure you got 2 hours to get there. So, again, we're looking forward to it. Got a great coaching staff, great players. We're excited about the middle school. They'll get kicked off February the 1st. They'll play in a tournament up in Dublin. Dublin's got a real nice complex with turf fields, and they'll go compete up there on Saturday and play 2 or 3 games. So we're looking forward to that as well.
We've talked about the coaches, we've talked about the players and all that, but tell us the importance of the boosters clubs that help all these teams.
Yeah, that's if I've said this time and time again, if you didn't have booster clubs and you didn't have support from the community, especially in rural South Georgia, athletics would probably be kind of non-existent. They play a huge part in, I just from the home run club. I've said this. If I called them today or met with them today and said we need this, and this, they'll find a way to make it happen. And I've told them they can tell me no. It's okay to say no, we can't do that, but they always find a way to make it happen. And that's the same way with all the other booster clubs. Every sport has a representation to make sure they have an additional funds. Because again, a lot of people are just not understanding of how an athletic budget works. And basically an athletic budget is based off ticket sales. You don't sell tickets, you don't get money. So that's basically obviously winning puts people in the stands, and basically playing a good schedule too to bring people in. So again, that's something that they are an additional resource. And I don't think booster clubs have to get into updating facilities, and that's something they did in the past, is they were kind of in the business of updating facilities. I think that is way past our idea of what their role is, and their role is to raise money to put it directly back on the kids and find a way for them to move to a higher level, or give them the resources they need to be successful. And every dollar that is raised in those booster clubs goes directly back to those kids. So again, I appreciate if any of those booster club members or presidents or treasurers or vice presidents are listening, we appreciate what you do and the resources you give our kids.
Yeah, I know here on the radio station we're always encouraging people to pack the park,
Correct.
Pack the bow, pack JC Stadium, the softball team, wherever it may be. Follow those athletes and get out there and support them. It makes a big difference when they see the crowd there. Ticket sales, of course, means a lot, but also that emotional support out there.
Oh, yeah.
And to support those kids for the hard work they do.
And I'll say, if you want to look at where the financial part of athletics go, and just go through GHSA and look at what the officials cost. It's constantly going up. I'll say that if you had we play a JV boys, varsity girls, varsity boys today, but if you have 4 games of basketball today, it's about $870 worth of officials. So you're looking at $10 a person. That's 87 people coming to the game just to break even on officials. Right. So and wrestling, every time they have a match against a wrestler, it's $276. So, it is I'm talking about it's a lot of money to run athletics, and the officials obviously. If you don't have officials, you don't have a contest. So it's something that you have to pay, and something that has to be done. But again, that's why we challenge our coaches to be creative with their schedule, and obviously, pump their program out through social media, and because that's a norm now. You need to pump it out, and appreciate you guys pumping it up on the radio and getting people to the park. And then we also have people in the community that will buy tickets for people on big games, and whether it's a student ticket or making sure. I think they did some of that in softball this year, where they bought a number of tickets and a number of kids got in free. We appreciate that too, because again, that puts people in the park that the kids. I know I feed off of it in the baseball season. Big crowds give you a little extra step in your motivation, and I know it directly impacts athletes as well. So, but we do appreciate anything that's being done to encourage or support people getting to the parks.
Okay, Bob.
Yeah, and appreciate you coming in. Look forward to the season. Be here before you know it.
Yep. Appreciate it.
Take care, Coach. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup has been brought to you by the Service Department at GNS Auto Sales, by First Southern Bank, and also by Murphy Builder Supply.